Just take this 1 minute just to say that I had been hopeful that we could have had a vote on another amendment which would have delayed the FAA's New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia airspace redesign until a further study could have concluded. See, Mr. Chairman, the air routes in an attempt to cut delays means that thousands of residents will be exposed to new levels of aircraft noise and pollution, and there's great concern in townships throughout my district that these new routes will negatively impact upon quality of life. Now, the FAA claims to have looked into alternative options to decrease airline delays, but all those options dealt with changing the design of the airspace and reroutes over quiet neighborhoods. Yet the FAA has admitted that many of the frustrating delays are caused not by airplace congestion, but by airline overscheduling. The amendment that unfortunately did not come out of rules would have required that the FAA look into those matters before proceeding. But again, I am appreciative of the fact that it did come out of rules, amendment that we will be discussing a little later on, to allow for further studies by the GAO. And with that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman is recognized.
And I thank the Chair, and I thank the Ranking Member, and I thank the Chairman as well for this opportunity to engage in this colloquy. I'd like to thank my friend from Florida for your advice and your assistance on this matter with regard to the New Jersey and New York airspace redesign. The gentleman from Florida knows the issue firsthand because he has traveled up to New Jersey last year and knows of its importance and is a top concern for the residents of North Jersey. I need to reiterate my concerns with the FAA's record of decision-making regarding this design plan. The alternative chosen by the FAA will reroute planes over areas that used to be quiet communities in an effort to reduce delays and air congestions. But because of this, thousands of residents in North Jersey will soon have planes flying over their homes for the first time ever. And these citizens are justifiably concerned that the increase in noise and pollution and affecting their quality of life will be negative. Just recently, over 1,400 of these concerned citizens showed up at an FAA meeting to make their concerns known to the design plan. Unfortunately, the FAA did not listen to their concerns, and they published their record anyway earlier this month. The FAA chose this plan because they believe it will achieve their goal of reducing delays. Despite all attempts by myself, other colleagues, local officials, there was no attempt at all to balance this goal with the needs of the citizens of the area. There was also no attempt to consider other factors, such as airline overscheduling and the size of the planes flying in and out of the area. Only air routes were studied. Now, I understand that the legislation we have before us today attempts to deal with the problem of overscheduling, and it would be my hope that the FAA will continue to review the New Jersey airspace issues with an eye towards these less intrusive solutions to the delay problems. And I would appreciate, then, the support and the assistance of the Chairman and the Ranking Member to determine if there are other practical steps that can be taken to decrease the noise and therefore to increase the quality of life that this will occur. And I will yield now to the gentleman from Florida.
Thank you. Well, again, I appreciate the gentleman from New Jersey's concern. Mr. Garrett has been a tireless advocate on behalf of his constituents, and he faces a difficult time, as does Mr. Shays from Connecticut. I've been in both of the districts and talked to the constituents. And as FAA moves forward, he has my commitment to here during this colloquy and after this colloquy to work with him to try to encourage FAA to see what we can do to minimize the impact on his constituents. So yield additional 30 seconds to Mr. Oberstar.
I thank the Ranking Member for yielding the time and the gentleman from New Jersey for raising the issue. Mr. Garrett is right on. Mr. Sustak from Pennsylvania, Mr. Hall from New York, Ms. Shays from Connecticut. Obviously, this is a bipartisan, nonpartisan issue. It's a widespread concern. You have my assurance that I will talk to the FAA, will talk to GAO, ask them to accelerate the work on their report, and that the GAO's findings need to be reviewed by FAA prior to finalizing the redesign of the airspace.
And to close, I'll yield 30 seconds to Mr. Garrett for any final comments.
Well, again, I thank you for that time, and I thank the chairman as well for your assistance. As indicated before, this is extremely important to our districts. We are completely frustrated over the months with the FAA with their lack of response or the lack of consideration for alternative methods, and I appreciate that. We look forward to the amendment later on today with regards to the GAO report that will finally put the information right before the FAA. They can't look any other way. They haven't listened to our constituents. Maybe they'll listen to the GAO report, and I'm absolutely sure that they will listen to the chairman and the ranking member. So I thank you again for your assistance.
Gentlemen.